See what's good with it. What's good with it? What's new with it? But yeah, I'm excited to be live, excited for you guys to be tuning in. And yeah, seems like a good day to kind of reset into and away from politics. That's kind of the vibe I got from this morning. You guys know we don't shy away from political conversations here. It's kind of the point of the channel. Um, but it's also true that, well, who knows? Some days some days, right? It doesn't matter who you are. Hey, Michael. Hey, good to see you. Great to see you. Um, yeah, from my perspective, irrespective of who I am or who other people are, it seems some days there is just more insidious or sort of invasive senses about where how the world works, and it seems to almost like it seems in a good way, right? We can almost positively hack our brains, but in a bad way, we can also negatively hack it. Um, um, it's depressing at times. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the upside. So, like, I think it's important. I follow the news cycle a lot. It's one of the things I have to do here on the channel. Um, am I a soy boy? Yeah, I heard it's derogatory. I didn't know it was a derogatory thing, but I eat a plant-based diet, or I eat vegan, however you want to say it. Um, you wrote an essay about VRA. Cool, cool. Um, yeah, the Trump administration crowdsourced some of the Iran planning via like a crowdsourcing email. They said, yeah, you guys, what are we going to do to punish Iran? So, but one of my points was, we can put everything in those little boxes with the walls on it, how far you're going to go, how far someone wants to go that's reading like an essay or reading the story. Um, and for Donald Trump, it's saying, yeah, I want the cruelty arc to be in public. I want the cruelty arc that Pete Hegseth's now commanding. So I eat grass and leaves. Yeah, that would be one of the points, right? Spinach is leaves. Spinach, romaine are leaves. Maybe you don't like those foods, but that's just right. That's not like a all-encompassing trait of a person to not like spinach or something like that. Um, yeah. Hey, what's going on, Moozer? Good to see you. Yo, Jack says, "Stay still, please. I'm literally cool. I'm okay, awesome. Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to invite more of like these all-encompassing, judgmental sort of ways of thinking into your life, that's totally up to you, right? That's your call. I know it's not all of who you guys are as people and stuff like that, but um, yeah, you guys can, whatever you guys want to do, it's kind of your call. So Popeye didn't look healthy. Yeah, Popeye looked like he had a high stress life for sure. Yep. Yeah, good day for people not like me. Good day for people like you guys, though, for sure. So happy Monday. Hopefully, you guys are having a great day. My name is Nathan. The channel is Ducks Y. You guys can also just call me Duck. That works too. And welcome to YouTube. Welcome to YouTube. It's good to see y'all. What fragrance do you wear, or do you just smell like smoke? Yeah, I'm not saying these are healthy, but that the causation you're talking about just doesn't exist in the world, right? Um, vapes are deliver a high amount of nicotine, but it's water vapor, right? So it doesn't smell like anything. But I used to wear John Varvatos. Was the cologne I had. I would wear John Varvatos. I got it as a gift, and so I just stuck with John Varvatos. But the one I had lasted me many years. I don't wear cologne every day and stuff like that. Now I use castor oil, so I probably smell like castor oil for my hair and beard, and that's it. Hey, what's going on, Daniel? What's going on? Yeah, very mean language, very cruel language. To me, this is like saying somebody is a soy boy because they eat sticks and leaves and shit, and you don't like that. you don't like that somebody eats a leaf. And so I don't totally understand, like if we're toddlers having a conversation or something like that. But if you say something like libtard, right, that's really offensive to a lot of people. And so once again, I don't understand. You're not just like a toddler having a conversation. You're like a cruel toddler having a conversation because it's the internet. Because it's the internet, right? There's no implication. There's no hidden meaning to that you wouldn't have that conversation in person. But it's just saying that I don't understand it. The last person I saw in here was a dirty commie. You're not one, are you? I don't know if I am what you think I am or whatever. I don't identify as like a quote leftist. I'm a pretty just progressive Democrat. I like supporting reasonable conversations in public too. So, all right, Zoe, thank you. Appreciate ya. Shout out. What? Right. Take a shower and shave, bud, says CT. Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. So, I mean, that you guys, that's a stretch I don't totally understand. I don't know if I'm supposed to. I don't know who you have these types of conversations with, but the stretch where literally a person is judging me and being like truly trying to be as cruel as you possibly can and get away with it, right? That's what you're trying to do, is trying to be as cruel to a person as you possibly can and get away with it. And the attempt is saying that, well, because I eat spinach leaves, that's a reason to judge someone. But then you're also my dad, right? Then you're also my elder. So you must have accomplished a lot in a world where those accomplishments are really valuable, and valuable to me as well, because I don't understand it. Hey, what's going on, first round? Great to see you. I don't see how it's cruel when you're avoiding the question. I don't know what Earth or planet you're on, but okay. I think we're on the same planet Earth. I have no idea what you're talking about. Don't look away. Look at me in the eye when you think. Thank you. Thanks, Singal. Thank you. Shout out. Appreciate you too. Yep. MIAI. Not cruel. You just need to take care of yourself, dude. Jesus Christ. Cool. Yeah. So CT, what you've so from in the conversation, right? Not you the person, but in the conversation we're attempting to have right now, or whatever it is, what you accomplished is an expert level knowledge of taking care of yourself that you go and share around on the internet. So you've achieved an expert level of taking care of oneself, grammatically and otherwise, right? And I sound like Andrew Tate, right? I sound like Andrew Tate because I don't take good care of myself. I'm not sure why we're debating or arguing. Hey, Underboss, good to see you. Yeah, I'll post a picture of it after I'm done cooking. I got some Japanese eggplant at the store, if you've ever seen them. They're long and skinny, very bright purple. It's beautiful food to cook, beautiful, easy to pan sear, pan fry. And it was 49 cents a pound at Patel Brothers. Patel Brothers is like one of the Indian market franchises out here. So I got some Japanese eggplants and some chutney. Yeah, he did say that. Yeah, cool. Amazing. Yep. Cool. Yeah, I don't mind when people are antagonistic. It just doesn't make sense if you're going to choose to be antagonistic and you come out smelling like roses every single time, right? That's abusive, right? That's abusive to say that there's only one version of the truth, which is me being. That's an abusive mindset. Yeah, food picks. We're going to do tons of food picks and whatever. And yeah, maybe I can clean my room later or something per the advice. It's an expert level of tip to shower and shave. You look hung over as fuck. Yeah. Right. But once again, if we're going to argue like toddlers, that's what you want to do, and I'm going to engage you as well. What you just said has nothing to do with anything. What do I do? How do I fix this? Can I fix it? All right. Because I'm on a YouTube live, right? So I'm on a YouTube live. Kind of greasy, too much volume, too thick and greasy. So proving a point, right? Okay, so what were we talking about? So we were talking about your Bubba. So we were talking about your expert level of going around on the internet and reminding people to take care of themselves. And you're just doubling down into it. You're just delving into the depths of taking care of oneself on the internet or something. I just don't understand. You probably have a ton of good tips for me and for other people and for yourself. I just don't understand what, you know. So that's how fascinating that conversation was too, right? That's how fascinating the debate and the argument was about what we were talking about. Yeah, why don't you just go to a different channel? Just go to a different channel. You don't need to be here then. Some of the infants who've escaped the nursery and are trying to bother the adults. No good tips here. Right. It's not a tips channel, if you understand what a tips channel is. You guys have all been to tips channels where people give tips. And I am. Right? So I'm still really confused as to what conversation we're having. You never met me. I never met you. Should we top off a coffee? Coffee. Hey, it's Car Alarm Monday, everybody. Welcome to Car Alarm Monday, where nothing happens. Woo, 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 woo. I think everybody's got an opinion that can be heard, but that doesn't mean some people, right? I don't always know my own opinion, so sometimes I like a conversation versus a debate or an argument. It's a good point somebody made in chat is, someone's ego. Don't attack somebody's ego. Don't lower the conversation or lower how two adults are trying to have a conversation because of your ego. What are some of my opinions? Yeah, I'm a progressive Democratic voter. I like philosophy. I like just hanging out and being chill. A chill guy, kind of a chill guy today. What do I think Trump will do? I think Trump is going to attempt to keep his family in the political space. And so I think if JD Vance, I think if MAGA Republicans don't retain a majority of the Senate in 2026, I think it's just going to be more convincing people to be superior and cruel to others, right? To be abusive. There's not another word for it anymore, right? It's abusive. You can call it what you want, but having a superior attitude is abusive to other people. It's asking other people to be different around you. Having a superior attitude, feeling yourself superior, your beingness superior, is abusive to other people. It's saying that you can get away with the other things that other people cannot. And what's great about that is some people, that's a personality trait. Some people do have a little bit of superiorness to who they are as people, and it's none of your business why that is. But saying, well, I'm jealous of all that attachment, or I'm jealous of all the good stuff, the good relationships it builds, either side, the good or the bad of it, that's not an excuse to go behave some way yourself because you're incapable of reflection and being critical of oneself or understanding things in the world for what they are. Yeah, Australia did pretty good. They got a Labor politician in last election. And so, I don't think it's bad. I think if you have a Labor Party, they see that, most of the stimuli in a society, the advertising, it's usually for poor people, right? Poor people save the least money and advertisers are smart. So when you have labor parties, you get more consumer protections. Um, you have government spending is typically helping, right? Maybe it's a little wasteful, but it's at least keeping it's on a wheel of things people need, right? So it's not wasteful. It's not Donald Trump passing $10 billion checks to his billionaire buddies and lying about how successful the economy is. I want Australia's political system in Germany. Cool. If you go your whole life worried about other people's feelings, you're failing to live free. Yeah, freedom is such a cool thing. Wanting to be free is sometimes wanting to be free from judgment or free from interacting with people that are actually just trying to be cruel, abusive assholes to you. And yeah, and here's another hard truth is most people, myself included, have been abusive to others at some point in their lives, right? You can look far or wide, but when you admit that you're the person in front of you is there isn't some like superhero that's on your cell phone. There's not some super influencer who's never been cruel or abusive to another person accidentally or intentionally. And so when you say, look, I've been judged and I've been the judgmental a-hole, I've been both people. Look, there's at least one step in the direction of maturity, right? There's at least one step in the ability to not look and sound like a toddler, on the internet. When it comes to geopolitics in Ukraine. Yeah, they're not analysts, right? It's a good point. This is Clote said that, or I don't know if I'm saying the name wrong, but Hassan, the Young Turks, Breaking Points, as far back as October 7th, people have acted like they're geopolitical analysts and have gotten nothing right. So if you want geopolitical analysis, go listen to someone who studied geopolitics. Go listen to somebody who studied geopolitics and follows the geopolitical news cycle. You know, look, it doesn't take as much as you think. Sometimes you can think of back to a few big pivotal moments and it tells you what a state's current interest is. Whether it be Ukraine, Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, someplace else, or even organizations like the African Union or BRICS Plus, European Union, how the policies underneath these organizations are faring and what it means for the member states, right? So my advice is again, is your feelings about an issue or your feelings about your own level of understanding. I've also been the person who's done geopolitics or done political commentary or philosophy, having not read something. I've been the person who didn't know and did it anyways. So this is another sort of small point for maturity is, look, the person in front of you has been judged and has been the judgmental a-hole. The person in front of you has been the informed geopolitical analyst on the internet, and he's also been the uninformed geopolitical a-hole on the internet. Cool, congratulations. I made both those mistakes. And I've considered how to not be a person that's like that anymore. So if you're watching me and you're wondering, is this guy like a toddler? Is Duck's Y, is Duck like a toddler? Yeah, a little bit. I still make a lot of mistakes. I'm still learning how to grow up. And that's it. That's it. You want to go be mean and cruel to people, go be mean and cruel to people on different channels. Hey, thanks, Paul. That's a lot of work for the joke, but okay. Shout out to you. What's up, Funks? Fun Sky for you. Good to see you. Hey, username 345. I'm an American. Nice to meet you. Trump squanders Americans' bread and tosses it to Netanyahu. It's still a very superior attitude depth, I would say. I mean, and this isn't trying to be overly critical or anything like that, but I think it's still a very superior attitude that we have such a material interest that we can endorse a president, even endorse the conversation he's wanted to have about about America having. So color me surprised. I don't remember waking up in a democracy and all of the democracy's interests are about having stuff. I don't remember a time period that was like that in American history, and yet that appears to be what people are saying. Oh, whether I vote for Trump or Mamdani, it's all about having stuff. It's all about having more and having stuff. Hey, what's up, 666? Good to see you. Am I a grown man? I don't know. You may be the judge of grown men, so congratulations. Stick around and you can tell me later via super chat maybe. I'm in oven. I'm on fire. My house is on fire. Yeah, our goal for the stream today is to the stream or our streams today is to make $30. So if you guys want to help with a small super chat, super helpful. You guys can, if you guys want to help, you can hit the goal right now by just sending one of the orange or the pink super chats. Help us hit the goal, and help me hit the goal. And if you guys want to stick around and see if I'm a toddler or an adult, you guys can also do that. I have been to Vancouver, but I'm from the Southwest United States. Yeah, I'm from the Southwest US. You sound like you're Canada adjacent. Cool. Yeah, that's because being neurodivergent or having not inner right. You know how people say on the internet you're in psychosis or you're mentally ill, and they're just speaking in terms of the internet. You're mentally ill. You're in psychosis. You must be autistic. I'm autistic. You're a psycho. Take your meds. All of these kinds of things that people say. Yeah, it's become illegal to have actual neurodivergence to any degree. So apparently, right? I sound intellectual. Cool. Thank you. I apparently accept that I'm intellectual for reasons of YouTube or something. I have a question for you. Hey, what's going on, Riot? Good to see you. I hopefully have an answer, EMP 1984. Shimon, good to see you. What does that even mean to believe or not believe in C19 or coronaviruses? I don't know what that's like asking if somebody believes in giraffes. That's like asking if people believe in horses. Like not as a funny analogy, but that's literally analogous to asking if you believe in houseflies or you believe in horses. Do you believe in spiders? Hey, thanks, Angela. Yeah, username. Do you believe in spiders? Do you believe that there's a house with a thatch roof someplace? Hey, Tara, good to see you. It's been a while. Yeah, it's a weird handshake, caffeine only. It's a weird handshake. I don't know if it worked or not. I don't remember you saying that daily because I don't know what it means, right? Purple giraffes, right? This is my new internet trend is going around and saying purple giraffe like it exists. Purple giraffe. Hey, thanks, Alex. Thanks for the ×2 ×3. Let's go. Thank you. Appreciate it. Very generous. Do I believe in horses? Yeah, I believe horses are real. I could go, I know where the horse property is by my house, so I could go and see horses. I could go see horses right now. It's never a bad idea, guys. If we're confused, you guys are watching me argue like a toddler with other people who are arguing like toddlers. If you get confused with that, you get confused with that at all. Once again, hey, thanks so much for all the gifts, guys. It makes the stream a lot of fun. But yeah, if you guys get confused about the idea to think about living in love or spreading love, hey, it's less harmful than the alternative, which is living egotistically, selfishly, taking care of ourselves. So I'm not saying that I can pass you an index card to grow me up so I'm not acting like a toddler on the internet. But if that's what you guys are doing, then that's amazing. Picks, cool. Maybe one time this summer. Thank you. Maybe one time this summer I can. Maybe one time this summer I can go out and try to visit some of the equestrian property, and if I'm out hiking and they've got a open back gate or whatever, like it's like open, not like I'm going into their property, but I can see if the horse will come over and be curious, right? Because horses aren't people. Horses are not human beings. Horses are not human beings, but they are living beings. So they can sociably be curious, inquisitive, or introduce themselves to other beings, right? So I believe in horses. It's not fun for other people. Hey, great. Oh, that's also a great litmus test, right? That's a great reminder. We used to at my Catholic school, I was raised Catholic, and at my Catholic school, we talked about fire starters. That was one of our homeroom activities, talking about fire starters, which is people that either like starting fights or starting drama for other people, but not for themselves. Right? They like creating scenarios or situations as fire starters that have nothing to do with. And so that's another reminder of if I keep acting like a toddler on the internet, that's another thing to do, right? It's not meant to be humiliating. Man, I don't like, and that's what I don't get is, you know, yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. Nobody, and this is from like an average smart guy, right? I'm an average smart guy. I'm not an intellectual like someone mentioned on stream. I'm like a typical 115, 120 IQ person. There's people that are way smarter than me. And I wouldn't ever say that there's people that are less intelligent or dumber than me, but there is, right, just to detangle these things, there is no like rock or amount of stupid that is so low that people are too dumb to know what it is to be nice and sociable or to be cruel, bully, abusive, and be arguing like toddlers. There is literally not a mountain that is that low. They tell you you're so alone. You're so alone because you got excited about finding cheap vegetables at the grocery store. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sick of it. People are sick of it. People are sick of it. I think you are helping the chat along either tacitly or explicitly, Anthony. I like your attitude and debating skill. What do I think about the offer? What was the offer? I have to go back up. Yeah, so you're just entering a random YouTube chat where you don't know if I'm sober, you don't know if I'm mentally ill, you don't know if I'm of sound mind, and you're asking me to contact the IDF. You're asking me to contact the IDF and join a mission. So my question back is, why shouldn't I just ban you and tell you I'm going to ban all of your alts too, right? Why wouldn't I say I don't, like, this isn't even close to the place for whatever it is for you to create some game that's hard for someone else, right? Here's more evidence of abuse, right? Abuse coming at the hands of internet culture, abuse coming at the hands of people who don't believe that they make an impact and they matter on that side of the keyboard. You just want to create a game, right? No, you want to create a game that's a game for someone else that's really hard and that costs you absolutely nothing. So you're an emotional slaver. That's what you are, is you're an emotional slave owner. That's not, and am I overreacting? I'm overreacting because I don't understand the sensibleness where you go into a random internet chat room and you ask someone to join a mission with the IDF. I don't understand that. 90-day grind. What's up? Yeah, cool. We're a politics channel. I guess we're doing some debates and stuff like that right now. Do you eat beard for breakfast? I don't know what that means. I guess it's silly. I guess that's a silly statement. Do you eat beard for breakfast? That's silly, I think. Hello, hi. Fun, all funny, fun and games, right? We need real people to serve humanity online. So it's a LARP. So your sensibility about it, right? Behind the keyboard, behind your messages, your sensibility about it is you're able to just LARP and do, and because it's the internet, you can LARP however you want. Your LARP is to ask people to join a mission for the IDF, and that is how you're LARPing it. You're LARPing it online. So your online LARP is online, and what a LARP is I just don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what you would expect to get out of that. Why you would think that that would do anything except float up the few people who maybe do have mental issues while they're operating online. So they turn on their computer, their laptop, their cell phone, like everyone else, and your oversight in your LARP, your oversight is that you don't believe that you could possibly be talking to somebody with a mental illness accidentally, that you normally would never do that with. He's too old for the IDF. Are we all that fragile? Are we what you did? Are we all that fragile? I don't understand it. Color me surprised. Really messed up. This is meant to be an 18 plus channel. I watched the analytics, but maybe we accidentally did get a bunch of toddlers who learned about politics on, and that's what's happening now. 6 grills, tiki torches, 3 whole pigs. Yeah, a horse. Nice. Cool. Yeah, that's not how you throw a party either, Frankie. You don't need all that. You don't need all that. I recommend for cooking skills, I think if you're looking for something to be excited about over the next couple weeks, if you can work 2 pans at the same time, that should be all you need, right? It means you can pan fry a main dish and you can cook a side, right? And then you can serve it with bread. So you can have a 3-course meal. You can eat a 3-course meal by being able to cook with 2 pans. You can eat a home cooked, home planned, home prepared 3-course meal cooking with 2 plants. But what you're talking about sounds like a fantasy world. It sounds in a good way, in a good way. All right. If you do that again on the, you're not going to be welcome back. It's meant to humiliate you or make it public. But if you do that again on the channel, where you LARP and you ask someone to join an IDF mission because you thought it was funny or fun, you're off. Then I'll just ban you forever, and I'll tell you to tell me any of your alts, and I'll ban those as well. Thank you. I look like I lost hope in humanity about 3 years ago. No, I wouldn't say that's true. Someone can, seeing through it a little bit, I think someone is able to. I would hope someone's able to think in terms of additive virtues. Think in terms of their values, right? I can think in terms of my values and I'm mature enough to say I don't see my values represented in the world. Um, I wish more people would talk about that. I wish more people would talk about the actual inputs and outputs of the things we do and try to make that context important for people. Just the context, right? It's not telling people to change who they are as people. It's not saying everybody needs to be a plant-based vegan like I am. Not everybody needs to think like Peter Singer did or try to think about like in Peter Singer's terms of animal liberation or civilizational poverty. Um, but to say that those values aren't represented isn't the same thing as losing faith in humanity. Hey, Gray, great to see you. What's my favorite food to cook? I'm most excited right now. I've got eggplant. I love cooking eggplant. Japanese eggplant is a lot of fun to cut and cook. It's easy to cut and cook. It's easy to wash. Eggplant's really easy to wash, cut, cook, dry. Um, and it doesn't, the nice thing is like, yeah, as far as I'm aware, in sort of Asian style cooking, whether it's Indian, like South Asian, Southwestern Asian food, um, like Indian or Chinese cooking, is you don't have to like bread it, dry it. It doesn't have to be double battered and fried or anything. Eggplant, you can just throw it in the pan with a little sauce. So yeah, it is so good. It's filling, it's fibrous. And yeah, it's a great side dish. It's easy to add a protein to. Yeah, nice, nice. Purple Mastery knows what's up. Like eggplant parm over pasta. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, eggplant parm in the Italian style of cooking. Kind of takes those root vegetables and turns it into the main of the dish. Um, so that's just like a consideration. If you're teaching yourself how to cook, you're not an expert. Maybe you've seen a couple videos. Um, but yeah, hopefully it's if you're thinking about whether or not whether or not the dishes and the stuff that you bought are are going to be a main dish or a side dish, we kind of have that sort of cue in our head, and it might inform you how you're going to cook it, if it's got to stand up a little more than other foods and stuff like that, just from a taste and aesthetic preference. So hey, Liam, what's going on? Hollywood did that to Central America too. I don't know. I'd have to go back and rewatch. Noam Chomsky in his book Manufacturing Consent says that U.S. media and movies played a major role in whitewashing U.S. atrocities in the Middle East. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think this is to me, this is a cubby cushy cubby gum, kind of a sometimes happy, sometimes sad sort of phenomenon too. Where Chomsky says his value is honesty, to the point that you have to understand the motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic motivations. It's very important, right? When you see bad coverage of Gaza and Palestine, when you see bad coverage of the October 7th atrocities, you see bad coverage of the entire war. It's important to know, are there moneyed interests? Are there political interests? Are there too many social mores and lines that can't be crossed while we're doing it? Right? Those are important conversations. It's also important to, I think, remember that like PBS Frontline could cover, at the end of the day, when they made documentaries about, they're part of the U.S. media. You could say it's state media, but it's independent media or whatever. That's just generally funded. But if you can only pick one story, then there's a time that you're actually hurting yourself at a certain point, right? At a certain point, you're saying, well, I'm going to discount all of your work and say it didn't matter, not because you were headed in the wrong direction, but because it wasn't perfect. And I think far too many people are ideological. That's my own, yeah, that's just my own thought process and reasoning. What does eggplant taste like? It is tasteless. I mean, it's a root vegetable, so it's got like a little, doesn't it have like a little almost like sourness or bitterness to it? A little sourness and bitterness, so like sweet, one of the reasons like eggplant parmesan stands up is not only are you like eggplant parmesan, not only are you getting like a parmesan crust So you're getting panko, parmesan, the crispy outside of the eggplant parm with the red tomato sauce and all this other really delicious good stuff. Um, but you're also getting just you do have the vegetable in there, right? You've got the squash or the eggplant, whatever's on top of it. That's kind of punching into the tomatoes, the sweet acidic tomatoes, whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know a ton about Indian culture, but I think people take for granted that, a state as populous as India, India, no, but like an actual place, not how someone else says India, but an actual place like India, um, you know, neo-Marxist Antonio Gramsci. Um, I'm not, I don't believe in the sort of the extreme rewriting of history. I would be on the other side of that issue. I'd be on the other side of it. Um, hey Gandalf, would you like to travel to Israel? What's going on, JP? Um, yeah, I mean, it's very strange for people to have strong opinions about Israel. Again, not being this is an issue where maybe you guys can judge if I'm arguing or debating like a toddler, if I'm like a toddler in my worldview, um, and what that would entail, whatever, the best version of myself to disprove that, right? That's how unconfident, that's how much confidence I lack. But it's very weird to have opinions about Israel. I don't know that you'll get a better answer than me because I don't live in Israel, right? I'm not Israeli. Do I know that Israeli citizens? So if you're a citizen of Israel, you probably share a lot of values with me here in the US. Yeah, that's probably true, right? But do I live in Israel? No, that still doesn't change. I don't live in Israel. Cool. What a big, beautiful human family we have. What a big, beautiful human family. Israel hasn't done anything to you. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm gonna go refill my tiny toddler cup of coffee. I'll be right back. We are back. We are back. We are not away. We are back. We are back. We are back. I need to groom myself. I don't need people on the internet to remind me to groom myself. I see myself. I need to groom, but it's not that severe. It would be weird at this point if someone mentioned it. It's not that severe. It would be weird. It would be weird to mention if I need to groom. Someone told me to shave. Someone told me to shower and shave. It is not that severe. That was a weird comment. That was a weird comment. Hey, thanks. No baby oil. Yeah. All right. And now that's gone. Now that's done too. Yeah, I wish I could just grow my hair out. Yeah. Israel is a strong ally. Yeah, Glenn, I don't understand, Glenn, what I would respond to you, what I would respond to someone who's a little more center right, actually trying to get right. They're a little more grounded. They're actually trying to consider the nature of the U.S. relationship with Israel. Is what doesn't make sense through the Overton window is Donald Trump is emailing literally. They have email threads between CIA intelligence and military planners wondering how to quote punish Iran. So the largest military in the world is doing a crowdfunding campaign for ideas which never mattered to the president, ideas were never important to the president. It was always see, feel, touch, and in his pocket money, right? For President Donald Trump, what mattered? It was see, feel, touch, money in his hand, money in his pocket, and so now he's crowdsourcing ideas. And so you say Israel is a strong ally, go myself, or something like that. I don't understand how, when there's literally no one in this large military that can make Donald Trump's day better, to be a violent, abusive, large bully, to be a violent, abusive bully on the international stage per his plan, he has to ask for help for it. And so what are you talking about these strong allies? Strong ally that makes you weak, a strong ally that makes you incapable of wielding your brain, a strong ally that makes it so your spine doesn't want to communicate with the rest of your body, that makes it so your vagus nerve shuts down. A strong ally that does what? A strong ally that made your bones brittle, but did it, one small thing at a time. Is this what's happening? That doesn't sound like a strong ally can exist in that world. It sounds like a bunch of abusive bullies acting like toddlers and being incapable of recognizing themselves in the mirror. And if you're able to clear that kind of stuff off your plate, you're going to be better off, I think. I'm not going to be your dad. I'm not going to be your big brother. I just, in my own experience, I've told you guys, I've been the judgmental, bully, abusive a-hole. I've seen myself being that person who either intentionally or accidentally gives someone else the worst side of the deal. I've been the person who's been selfish. I've been the person who's been egotistical and narcissistic. I've been the person who's been poorly read and poorly studied and had an opinion that voiced it anyways. I've been all of these things. And I'm just telling you, I don't need to be your dad or your big brother to say that that stuff is just dead weight. It is not good. It is not good to have a superior attitude and never need to fix yourself. So I take it you are not a fan of Israel. I've never been to Israel, Gandalf. Gandalf, I haven't been in Israel. I've not been in Israel. I literally, maybe you weren't there for the part that I mentioned. I'm not Israeli. I think Israeli citizens have a lot in common with US citizens. There was a huge decry when they tried to federalize and nationalize more of the court decisions. They tried to remove the ability of a strong democracy to prosper in Israel. And I think there's still plenty of Israeli citizens who see a war, and without forgiving the crime of October 7th and having to be perceived as someone strong enough to a person opposing October 7th, right? That's the currency. That is the toddler currency to play. But there's people who say, well, you have not allowed a democracy to attempt to conduct diplomacy. You've not allowed a democracy to attempt to resolve problems, longstanding issues, and to create pathways towards more peaceable relations and understandings, to be peaceable neighbors. So I think there are people in Israel that share my very specific egotistical, narcissistic values, and I think there's people in Israel that also could say, well, asking for less, but it's still not something that we've done ourselves. If that makes sense, that's still acceptable. That still would be something that's good. Religions create deities which become a hub of energy. It's pretty cool. Hubert is, I think that's irony, but I don't know. That's how lame I am. So you don't have an opinion on it at all. Yeah, I mean, if I was introducing myself to you, I would say that I think democracies, right? The whole reason democracies can compete for hegemony and be morally justified, to say that political goods in democracies are any different than political goods in other places, even a place like China, which is rapidly liberalized, which has huge constraints, and you could say, well, there's elements of realpolitik and elements of moral leadership, like any state in a place like China. But But to say that, well, that's still not as good as free people deciding, free people journeying together, free people um, being able to rid themselves of ego and vote for the best solution possible, things that do occur in a democracy. And if you miss it, but if I'm introducing myself to you in that sense, I'd say, yeah, um, you know, the way in which we're close is saying that there is a Western presence in the Middle East. And when you understand that if there's a sense of order where that is required, or you just admit that you don't understand that at all times in the present moment, that is the way in which we're close to Israel. The way in which we're close to Israel is that there is a state of affairs or matters of fact which exist in the region. And those are closer units to Israel, right? Those are closer problems to Israel. So am I for stomping down militaristic, arrows pointed out military bases and military operations in the Middle East? Hell no. Hell no. That costs a lot of money, right? What if I'm a deal maker? If I was in Donald Trump's seat and I was a deal maker, what do I just get for that, right? I'm not trying to be esoteric. I'm not trying to be tricky, deceive you. I'm not trying to be a philosopher. I say, hell no. I don't want arrows out military operations, arrows out military bases. I don't want any of that stuff in the Middle East, right? And you can also bet, right? If I was Barack Obama, you could bet that I don't want to see a nuclearized Iran too. Okay, cool, right? Grown adults not being toddlers, not being toddlers. Grown adults not being toddlers. Wow. What a conundrum, right? And so you guys believe that in a place that can actually reduce the costs, and I'll come back to chat in just a second here, but you guys believe that someone that can that reducing the cost of diplomacy, you think that reducing the cost to human life and human tragedy, reducing the misunderstanding and reducing the blockers to reconciliation, you think Donald Trump's in the middle of that right now. Or you don't. Or you don't. You support that the president is not a president of peace, and you should see that more clearly, I'd hope. I'll also mention, thank you guys all for being here. I do appreciate your time. I appreciate that you can be on any channel and you're spending some time here with me on Ducks Y. If you guys want to help us, our super chat goal for the day is like $30, right? $30 would make me a happy camper for the day. You can help me hit it now with one orange super chat or one pink super chat, or feel free to stick around and just hang out too. Thank you. Yeah, and I think there's different senses where a society is dependent on a military. This is something that's been missed out. This is something that, like, Turning Point USA is just one organization that has severely misled people, has lied to people, right? They played to baser instincts that were unprepared to hear the good news, hear the good and the bad news, right? The bad news is that no matter where you are in a society, the bad news is that wherever you work, you're going to be putting money into tanks, planes, trains, automobiles, soldiers, and their helmets, right? Everything that the U.S. military does, they're going to get a cut. They're going to get a cut of every single thing that you do, right? No matter what. But then you ask why and how much it's going to cost into the future. And there's the good news. The good news is you don't have to go to war, right? The good news is you elect representatives that vote for peace. You elect representatives that want to de-escalate and slow proliferation. You don't vote for people that want to expand it. You vote for people that understand the UN peacekeeping force is perhaps one of the most successful standing militaries in the world history, in civilizational history, right? You get in, you get out, you get on with it. There's usually political objectives alongside of it. And so if you're going to vote for killers, hey, there's at least a floor, right? There's a floor, killer. You wanted to be a killer? Congratulations. Now you are. Wow. I'm an American, Jack. Yeah, I'm American. Hey, what's going on? Is it time to shut down the Federal Reserve? Yeah, for central banks, I think we need independent banks, right? I don't think we should have moral actors. We shouldn't have people voting their values when they're deciding to increase or decrease. And this has been going on for a long time now, where Donald Trump is using illiberal trade practices. So he's not letting people freely decide things. He's trying to corral banknotes into the United States. He's trying to get people to lie, cheat, and steal. And he's lying about the actual numbers. So he's creating disinformation and creating a mess. And so these are all problems for central banks like the Federal Reserve. I think in the US, when we look at the different Federal Reserve banks, there should be a metric. There should be a publicly available metric if they're having to intervene politically. We should be able to see if there's political decision makings related to monetary and fiscal policy. And that's really important to me. Yeah. Good to see you as well. Happy Monday, Crunchy. Happy Monday, Crunchers. Your luck will be wishing you had a listen to places like Israel and UAE about the real threat that Islamic extremists pose. Yeah, there are, I don't know if this is like testing my knowledge or something, but yeah, there are governments that support Islamist regimes around the world, including civil wars. And so saying that there is still tribal, we still use the label of tribal or civilizational competition. That's a problem, right? And a democracy should be smart enough to be able to recognize that. A democracy should be able to recognize that these are people looking for power. There's people in absolute competition, and that there is not, right? You don't have a Muhammad Shahamid, or you don't have a Johnny Jackie Smith Paul who just woke up today with hate in their heart, right? Those people don't exist. They may exist, but they don't exist like you want them to, right? They exist just like you, that they wish they could pay their rent. Most people, 99.99999% of people, literally that number, wish they could pay their rent. They wish they could have a job. They wish they could go to the store in peace. They wish they could be recognized and appreciated for who they are as people. So, hey, thanks, Tarot. Yeah. And so here's my conservative side. Is that the Federal Reserve, right? If you guys ask me a question about the Federal Reserve, we were talking about how I'm gonna cook this Japanese eggplant later. I'm gonna post it so you guys can subscribe, stay up to date on my posts and shorts on YouTube here. But I'm gonna cook this Japanese eggplant later. I'm gonna cook it with some spinach. I'm gonna do like a vegan beef soy chutney or something with it. And I'm going to have this big, beautiful, meaty side dish of Japanese eggplant. The Fed's never going to teach you how to cook a home meal. They're not going to change your health or budgetary outcomes. The Fed's not going to do any of those people. You can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about it, but you're never going to get those sort of lifestyle changes because you've got cheaper interest rates and stuff like that. You're never, ever going to. And you can talk about cheaters in the tech industry, cheaters in high-tech manufacturing. You can talk about cheaters in retail. You can talk about the biggest cheaters of all in oil, energy, and gas. And you can talk about how we enable the lie, right? Not creating artificial differences of us and them and things like that. I think I need to write a cookbook. Heck yeah. Yeah. And so that would be cool. Yeah, maybe I'll make a ducks cookbook at some point in time. I should start taking pictures. I'll get a nice one of those. Yeah, all you need, if you guys like food photography, you can get a white plate from like Goodwill or something like that. Talk and 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 talk. And what do you get, right? You get me acting like an egotistical toddler on your phone. Me being the egotistical toddler that I am. I forgot what I was saying or talking about. All right, guys, I'm going to grift one more time. Our goal for the day right now is still 30 bucks on the day. So you can hit it now with a orange or pink super chat if you guys want to contribute. Consider YouTube gifts, small super chats also help us toward the goal quite a bit. So thank you guys so much. I just don't have it laid out there. But if you guys want to support a small channel, having high impact conversations, helping people think about politics in a mature sense, talking about peace, animal rights, talking about that kind of stuff, feel free to send some money through. You guys know we're not too crazy. I'm not trying to make everybody vegan out here, stuff like that. But yeah, we are trying to have honest conversations, and I just sit where I am, and that's where I am. You look like Santa for autumn instead of December. Hey, what's up? Hi, Sheriff. Great to see you. Great to see you. Yeah. Summer Santa, Christmas in I missed Christmas in July, so I guess Christmas in July is what was coming next. Hey, oh my gosh. What up? Yeah, I mean that it is both, it's politics advice as well as diet advice to say don't be self-serving in a diet, don't be self-serving in all these sort of capacities where if you start by serving yourself, then you're limiting it, right? You're limiting who you are and what you're talking about. And sometimes that's a good thing, right? You know, we do have the sort of safety net on both sides of being self-serving, learning what it's like for ourselves, learning what it's actually like for ourselves, not driving ourselves towards a point where we can't manage it anymore, but also what it's like for other people, right? So we're not judgmental. So some people talk about like the middle way, the eudaimonia in Aristotle and stuff like that. And Aristotle had opinions about politics. He thought his middle way, his sort of, not like the Buddhist middle path, but he thought, not working on the extremes was also it became the appropriate path for politicians and stuff like that. But that can be a principle some people adopt into their own lives. Some people, maybe it's more intuitive. If that's intuitive to you, cool. For me, I don't know what's intuitive. I don't know what's intuitive anymore. Coffee, car alarm coffee. That's what's intuitive to me. Hey, congrats on 50. Congrats on 50 pretty high. I saw that you can do YouTube live streams and stuff now. So congratulations. If you guys want to go subscribe to Pretty High 26, she's a great friend of the channel, and yeah, it's going to be another kind of destination location if she wants to go live or whatever from, I'll throw all 2,000 subs we have here at you. You'll eat ice cubes. Yeah, everybody's different. Your physiological metabolism dictates what you eat. Hey, good point. Yeah, good point. Good point. Good point. I realized yesterday how hard some people work. When people say they're working their butt off, I've told people I'm working my butt off on myself before. I've told like my mom and dad, I'll say, I'm working my butt off on myself and stuff like that. But I don't really know what it means, right? I don't know what it means. Sometimes I felt like in the current political climate, I've felt like sleeping on a bed of pine needles. Not that that's a bad thing, but you know, kind of sleeping on jagged rocks, kind of uncomfortable and stuff like that. Um, you know, and so having that experience is different for me than saying, I'm gonna work my butt off. I'm gonna do some cold stuff. I'm willing to kind of watch the news cycle, talk to people, heat up myself, work hard talking to people, work hard on live streams, all that kind of bro stuff. I realized all that stuff, and yeah. Right. And so there's no one way people get by, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, it just is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, awesome. Awesome, awesome. There's almost this, I don't mean to sound too European too, but there's like with Donald Trump, people are so quick to criticize him the person. You've never met Donald Trump, right? You guys know I'm not a giant fan of the president or his style, in terms of the job he's doing, the job he requested to do. You guys know I'm not a fan, but there's also this almost like this pervert arc, right? There's this like pervert arc is one way I understand it or see it, where we let in so much of the superior attitude, we reinforce our superior mindsets, we look for exchanges in our relationships to build relationships based on that superiority, and to the point where it's on the left and the right, it is so perverted, right? It is this sort of sense of, um, there's no true nature of a person. There's nothing stable anymore. It's literally gotten driven to be such a point of instability that, what happens next? I don't know, right? What happens next? Um, you know, and like the Freudian line might be sort of talk or look through it like, well, people consider themselves monogamous, right? People consider themselves monogamous socially or something, right? And from to be political, to have a politics is it does not get rid of this act of, well, people consider themselves monogamous, but we're still perverting our minds so much where it's not that values are underrepresented. It's just that we've shaped things in such a strong sense. We've shaped things in such a strong sense um, toward I don't even know what it's supposed to be. Um, you know, to the point that we can't see our own sort of tunics anymore, right? Is like the old school way of saying it, that when we do have artificial sort of social roles, we have artificial baggy clothes that we wear each day and things like this as well. Then it's the point, right? Then it's the point that I don't know, we stop trusting ourselves. Hey, what's up, Eurobop? Great to see you. I went to get my white phone worked on. They said it had a I don't know what a white phone is. I don't know what a white phone is. What is a white phone? Is it like a cell phone or something? I've never seen a white phone. You're putting on music over your voice since it's unbearable to listen to. Cool. Shout out to you. Hopefully you're having a great day. My hot beard comb makes my beard smell like hot dog water. Cool. Congratulations, Tim. That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you feel like you see both sides of the coin naturally become someone who is more agreeable as you perceive perspective? But that's sort of humbling, which leaves you in a space where what happens next depends on another. Yeah, that's a great point. That's like a hugely massive point, I think. If you guys want to scroll up a little bit, and see House of Tarot's comment, yeah, when agreeableness is can be a trait that someone works on at least a little bit. Saying that I won't debate, argue, judge someone else's perspective immediately without understanding it, and I don't want to engage in debates with people who we don't have rapport, right? So if I cannot debate or engage in a debate in good faith, I'm just not going. For myself, what I get out of your statement is, for myself, I won't engage in a debate where I'm not going to be good faith. I don't want to be a liar, and I don't want to be a cruel, abusive a-hole as a result of that debate, as a result of us agreeing to debate. And this is coming from someone who used his body for physical violence, right? So this isn't, I just want to make that clear that I used to wrestle and things like this. So I used to wrestle. It wasn't Greco-Roman's brutal too, but it was not a performative dance that I used to do. But saying that people can disagree passionately and not be cruel or abusive to one another and not be behaving as emotionally as toddlers is something huge. I got to scroll down a little bit. I see y'all up there. Yeah, pretty. I'd be curious if they have a request of something to talk, a topic change or something like that. You guys can always super chat topics as well, but I would be curious if they have a topic they'd like to discuss because they said they're listening to our conversation. Yeah, we're an 18 plus channel as well. This isn't meant to be degrading. It's just the topics that we discuss. Obviously, we're talking about something like monogamy and perversion in society, or we're talking about war and politics. You guys know that's not appropriate for people under 18. Those topics are still not even that appropriate in my view, right? I'm not the moral police, but I don't think those topics are that appropriate for 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds either. But if you have a topic you'd like me to discuss, please feel free. Can you not? Yeah. So there is our line. There is our line in the sand right there, right? If you're going to offer very harsh sexist insults to other people, we're going to go ahead and time you out on the channel. We're going to go ahead and delete all those things and you can come back, but we're not going to have you when someone is contributing in good faith. I don't think it's not a universal trait to just like what I don't understand is it's not universal to just say that that type of discussion is not allowed here. It's not allowed that if you and you alone are holding on to some sort of sexist or bigoted and hateful and angry rhetoric, right? We know not to, we know, okay, so there's another good checkpoint for the internet and people on the channel who are 18 plus. We know that we do not channel our hateful and racist, sexist, ethnic, bigoted, an angry language towards other people, right? These are times in which we're not actively engaging in a relationship or relationship building at those times. We know this, I hope, right? You can be angry and cook. You can cook angry like Gordon Ramsay. I cook angry sometimes. I get angry when I'm cooking and sometimes I'll cook angry. So it's not really an outlet. It's a place where that is more appropriate than it is telling another person who they are. Gil says, thank you for your service. I do stolen valor content. I do stolen valor content on my channel. So I'm very grateful for veterans. I see a very transparent sort of what the framers of the Constitution, Madison and Hamilton, spoke about as a sense of envy, jealousy, and intrigue. I hold that in some regard, and I believe that's also a way to have promote a sense of peaceableness, which I hope people appreciate as well. Peaceableness. I recommend watching Full Metal Jacket for adults. Again, very adult movie. If you are 18, you'll miss some of the undertones and stuff, but hey, there's your sign, right? There's proof. There's proof that not every conversation is meant for people of all ages. Yeah. You've been a grown adult arguing about MAGA Donald Trump and stuff like this, but you've actually been behaving as a toddler. You can't even watch a movie like Full Metal Jacket, right? If you've been behaving as a toddler, you can't watch a movie like Full Metal Jacket and understand it because you've been behaving like a toddler in some sense, right? Instead of something else. So where are we? Are we in a place that is, right? Hopefully we're in a place that's peaceable enough to discuss things maturely, but it's an amazing movie. Yeah, very sad. Very sad. It's they do a great job. They do a great job kind of taking the joy out of the movie, but still keeping it watchable. That's one of the old tactics of the war movies is there's some scenes that really define what the film is like. But there are also scenes that look like a Hollywood action movie about a genocide that was happening, right? A genocidal war in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia, right? A genocide campaign happening in Southeast Asia. Hey, see ya, Humpty Hump. Yeah, have a great day. Take care. Yeah, it's 11 people. You never know. Yeah. Great to see. If you want to tap like on the way out, more people like you will discover the stream, or you can subscribe, or none of it. Those are also good things to do. Cooking angry never goes well. Hey, thanks so much for the hiding. Thank you. Very generous. Thank you. Uh, hey, a chess nerd. Go get a job. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love if y'all got any of them jobs. It sounds like you actually care to take care of someone. So who knows? Maybe that's part of your chess yoga, part of your chess practice. Go get a job instead of this stuff. Yeah, I'd love to. Oh man. I told someone the other day my dream is to be waiting tables again. I'd love to be a waiter at a restaurant. I'd be very proud to do a job like that. I'd have a little bit of pride, a little proudness to be able to go do that. XOFA, what's going on? Good to see you. Yeah, lots of deep breaths, man. Uh, we're talking about the psychoanalytic monogamous perversion of society, right? In the politique, right? The identification of monogamy in a socio-political, economic sense require one then must pervert relationships, right? So you have only this kind in a politics, right? Only this kind in a politic sense of what a relationship information exchange must be like. And then therefore, the causation which is attributed and earned is from this perversion arc, right? Of course. So we were discussing this before. Want to take $0.1 super chat. Yeah, you guys can send, I think the lowest super chat amount is 99 cents or $1. Yeah. And so but those are very helpful. If you want to send a $1 super chat, you're allowed to. It shows up on blue, there's no text. And then for $2, you can send $1, $1.50, $1.75, anything up to $2. And then at $2, you can actually add a text message to it. So if you've never seen how that works, you guys can consider supporting this channel, DucksY, supporting me. I'm very grateful for it. And you can support other of your favorite streamers and charitable causes that way as well. Yeah, not a big deal. Not a big deal. I appreciate the curiosity about it. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm grateful for donations of all sizes, right? Some people drop red super chats on the channel. I know how to act when I get a red super chat. I'm usually very grateful, a little taken aback by it, very grateful for it. And I don't know someone else's circumstance. So someone, whether it's 20 cents or 2 cents or 5 cents, whatever the donation is, or it's $50 or $20, I try to show gratitude, right? Because it's me taking something that you had, right? And I'm not trying to pry it out of your hands, but it's someone else is giving me those donations. So I'm very grateful for them. Do I have a job? Mine is being a gunsmith. Cool. Congratulations. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know what there is to talk about there. I'm not a big 2A person, right? I'm in Arizona, so I grew up in a pretty salt of the earth family here in Arizona. And yeah, congrats. Yeah, I hope it's a good job and you're happy with it. Yeah. 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 And there's one of these sad things, right? There's acceptance and sadness. And that's the only way to say, well, what I'm reaching for is being additive, right? I'm reaching to be more additive about aspects of myself and my relationships. Um, and the fact that something's hard or difficult or impossible doesn't change that. There's this acceptance pathway is sort of how we preserve sometimes our optimism and our hope and our goodness, right? Our goodness gracious, our goodness gracious. Yeah, shout out to you, Mr. Blades. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. I am, yeah. I worked for many years. I worked from the time I was 15 into my 30s, and now I'm attempting to make YouTube full time. Um, you know, like a fool. So I don't recommend it. I don't recommend that to other people. I prefer if you guys can focus on your job or your career, then yeah, that's a great thing. That's a great thing. Yeah. So, um, but yeah, I think one of the weird traits on YouTube is acting. People act as if I don't know what good work is or work is, that I haven't done good work. I haven't produced value in the economy. And yeah, perhaps I have a narrative about the value I did produce in the economy that supports some false aspect of my consciousness, or it's egotistical, it's narcissistic, it's a little ego. Um, but they act as if, whatever, like you say you do HVAC and I say, cool, that's awesome, right? I come from a family that did very much like gray collar work, blue collar, white collar. So who knows? You don't know if I had people in my family that were plumbers or construction workers or worked HVAC or whatever it is. But you tell me that I do HVAC. So when you're a landlord and you do HVAC, so I'm a piece of shit, right? Where I look up at this and you have to appreciate how good of a pathway this is for people. And it asks a lot, right? It asks me to assume things about myself that have never been true, are not true. And then it also doesn't ask me to try to detangle my own ego or something, right? So it's a very rude pathway to doing something like that. It's very rude. It's a very rude pathway of doing something like that. And yeah, yeah. So there's that, right? And then the common trait is people taking care of themselves, right? Maybe you don't like liberalism. You say this is a political problem, but it isn't. It is just what you can prescribe to it what it is, but people that just want to take care of themselves first. I'm new. What are we talking about? I don't know. I'm avoiding material problems in my life and talking about spiritual ones. I am the ultimate Apparently, I am the ultimate example of involuntary, involuntary celibate, mentally ill, drug addict, loser, dweeb on the internet. So I have every bad trait to make people comfortable. Hey, what's going on, Slay? But it's a politics channel, so we can talk about politics. We're doing some psychology now, I guess, is the topic. Now we have a topic, so people ask what the topic is. I don't know. Welcome. Dude 101, what's up? What's up? Great to see you. I am the example of who you do not want to be when you grow up. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure how. Yeah. Nice to meet you, Andrew Bailey. But that's what YouTube asked me to be today. Cool. Great. A great project for humanity is making Nathan or Duck admittedly the example of everything you don't want to be. And I don't know how I ended up here. I don't think I did anything all that bad. I've definitely made a ton of mistakes in my life. So, yeah. FBI agent Potato. Hey, congratulations on your wedding. I don't think I know who you are unless I know who you are. Yeah, I used to have friends in real life. You seem all right, bro. Can I help you in any way? Just feel free to enjoy the channel. We accept super chats and stuff too, but enjoy the channel. Yeah, enjoy the channel. It feels odd to ask you for money when you're asking me how you can help me. I don't know. I'm content doing what I'm doing. I've tried to not do what I'm doing here, where I'm supposed to be a immature toddler who has made every mistake and is still making all of the same mistakes that I have made. I am an immature toddler who is angry, who is very angry and opinionated about something and has made all of the mistakes and am still making all of the same mistakes today. Um, and guess where I end up back doing? I end up back being an example once again. So I will not ask for help out of whatever predicament I'm facing, either digitally or in real life. Either version of those things is just who I am. I voted for Kamala Harris, so you know. Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it, Andrew Bailey. I love people taking care of themselves first, but choice is delusional. It's not, you won't perceive as you are until you do. Memento mori. I think I used to know what memento mori was, but I don't anymore. Remember. So it's remembering the short-termness of who we are as people. Whoops, I got something on my screen here. The short-termness of who we are as people. Oh my God. What's going on, Resurrection 2.2? I don't know what that LARP is, but it's very strange. I think it's a LARP. I don't know why it belongs on a YouTube chat room, but you do. You must. You didn't consider it, or it is well considered. So cool. Congrats. Is Jesus gay? Yeah, I think Jesus was a collection of women. That's my theory about the Bible, is the person that people are actually worshiping was a collection of anonymous women who saw that the bureaucracy of Rome would continue to be violent and that the condition of the Israelites and the tribes of Abraham were to also oppose this violent regime with violence. And so early religion was just one pathway of promoting peace outside of just promoting peace directly. Pretty good for a social project, not that great for a personal philosophy in my view. I don't believe Christianity helps answer question for us. Am I a womanizer? Sure. Right? I just say yes to everything. Yeah. Who knows? In real life, I would tell you, I would be very honest if I was at a place in my life, my personal life, to or to not pursue a relationship, and then the status of that relationship that I was pursuing or not pursuing, I would be honest about it. I would be very honest about it. But in internet world, in digital world, yeah, sure, I'm a womanizer. There you go. What comes next? I am a claimed monogamous liar. I'm a monogamous cheater, perverted womanizer. Okay, cool. You guys want to add anything else into that one? That recipe? Recipe for a person. Is that what people are? People are results of recipes. Cool. Beings are results of recipes. Don't step on ants, right? Hey, there's a good, that's what you get back out of that one too. Nice lesson. Yeah, nice lesson, world. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Like I've said, I have made every mistake in the book, and I am a survivor of trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm a mentally ill addict, and what the world taught the world was that if you tell someone to not exert cruelty to other beings, you can make that person a womanizing, monogamous cheater, pervert on the internet. Do I think humanity is going to garbage? No, it's a slight slump. We're just in a slump right now. Maybe not even. At least you're being honest. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah. How my generation, I'm a millennial. My generation, and I'm not saying I've been perfect, right? But my generation was raised that if you were a man and you wanted to talk to a woman, right, the first thing is how do you act when women are around, right? You act slightly more polite. Right? It's not there wasn't a word called simping. Maybe you're a little more polite. Maybe you're a little more in tune with what people are telling you, making sure you're acting appropriately and not. And if there was any semblance of a woman or a man not wanting to talk to you, you would remove yourself. You would recuse yourself or remove yourself from that situation. And it seems on the internet, there's this superiority culture where people are so smart in chat rooms. I'm so smart on this side of the camera. I never remove myself from a conversation anymore. But yeah, that's of course something I don't do because the next thing I'm doing outside of mental illness, addiction, voting for Kamala, and all these things is becoming a abusive, womanizing, monogamous liar, cheater. So I'm going to go do all those things next. Yeah, traditionalism, I think, if you like, one way of seeing what traditionalism or conservative is also to just imagine, right? It's not saying, well, because of this is my identity and I'm superior to someone. It's just saying, well, you might recognize aspects of someone's values and how they approach relationships or a situation. Hey, Abi Info. Great to see you. Shout out to you. Yeah, very funny. Tink, tink. Good to see you. Good to see you. Kids nowadays need beatings and mobile should be taken, I feel. That's a very, very, very abusive statement. I would hope that I hate what's happening to Gen Zs. I would hope that you could address that point of view or the superiority about it. You know, if you say that there's some form of truth maybe in how you feel or feel towards something, but you're expressing hatred and anger is what that is, then you can say, well, the most you're talking about is being in a divot or in a lull, right? The most you're talking about is that wisdom is developed in this sort of divot or lull that you're now expressing hatred and anger toward. You know? Hey, awesome job, Valena. Yeah, thank you for the authenticity. I appreciate it. Authenticity. Yeah, I mean, how we present ourselves digitally maybe says something small about who we are as people. Maybe that's one thing people want to discuss, or it's important to people to talk about and be well toward people, right? You know, you can be well and have well intentions, good meaning intentions toward people. And then there's also a way that one can maybe believe those things really in the real world and also express themselves in a sense where online is an extension of, and here's where I maybe differ from some people is, I'm different like this, guys. No offense, etc. More so, I'm just gonna be honest though. I gotta be honest with you. I'm gonna leave it all out there. I'm not gonna leave anything. I'm not gonna hold anything back anymore. I'm sick of it. No, but if this expectation of having more and asking for better, asking for better, asking for more is represented in our online identity, that's probably an expression of some of these social and political products we have that day. And this is true of people irrespective of where you're a citizen of. Doesn't matter. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone here. I was excited about finding eggplant at 49 cents a pound. So when I asked for better, what I got is I get to do some exotic cooking that I went out of my way for. And so I have more than many people on planet Earth, probably billions. I have more than and am better than billions of people on planet Earth because I'm excited about cheap exotic cooking. But some people ask for way more than that. Hey, Vikas, great to see you. Welcome. And Nalo, good to see you as well. I don't lay eggs. I'm not a literal duck. I'm a human being. I'm a person. I try to be most days. I try to be a person like a person. Most days is this is the best version of myself today. Do I suffer from mental illness? Um, uh, I've had behavioral health issues in the past, both mental illness as well as addiction. So thank you, Dominique Skillen. I don't know where that diagnosis came from or that recommendation that I need to talk to a doctor. Maybe your form of being excited about exotic cooking is telling people that they're mentally ill or sick. Or maybe you're a doctor, right? Maybe you are a doctor. That is your pathway. Yeah. The return, I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited for the return of the internet to start telling people to take your meds once again. I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it. So I will be the mentally ill, addict, sick, pervert, cheating, monogamous piece of shit. I can do all those things. Hey, I've had stray thoughts in the past, right? So why not? It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. You know, that's one example of why the internet has taken problems on. Here's something to think about. The internet takes on problems it can't solve or can't even say anything about, right? This isn't like red pill manosphere. Right? I think there's a big difference between someone who does not actually consider themselves monogamous and presents themselves. They lie to people, they lie to their partners and tell them that they are monogamous. There's a big difference between explicit and irreconcilable deception, and someone who is monogamous, but who knows, has lustful thoughts or impure perceptions, imperfect perceptions of the relationships between sexes, between possible dating partners, and things like this. So what are you going to say to a person who is committed to not cheat but is monogamous, right? Committed to never cheat but is monogamous but just misperceives some stuff, right? You say the same thing you'd say to the person who can't afford to go to the dentist, I guess. Apparently, you don't say anything. I'm from the Southwest United States. Yeah, I'm in Arizona State in the Southwest US. It's right next to California. I don't know where you guys are. Yeah. My religious beliefs, I don't hold religious beliefs. I'm a Buddhist atheist. I would define myself as a Buddhist atheist. Yeah. Or an atheist. Yeah, it's not even like, I mean, I'm a little neurodivergent, right? You asked if I have a mental illness. Is neurodivergent a mental illness? Yeah, in the DSM, that's what that is. But I'm a little neurodivergent. I never even understand. I get it. I like people that kind of do that stuff online. I subscribe to some of the channels, but I never understood why cheating was a topic. Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah. Have I always been an atheist? No, I was raised Catholic, actually. Yeah, I was raised Catholic. So, yeah. I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school. Oh, yeah. That's my claim to fame is I went to a Catholic school and grew up like that. And I grew up like that. So, yeah, I grew up thinking about my own. This is what I said yesterday. I like the way it sounded, so I'm going to say it again. I grew up thinking about the things my family did have alongside things other families didn't have, and just like everyone else growing up in a blue collar family, I considered my friends that had more money. I saw the wealth on television and it impacted me and made me think I needed to be successful and needed stuff and things like a little bit, that kind of expressed itself throughout my career and stuff I did prior to YouTube. Right, our very small YouTube community in Chandler here, family here, and stuff like that. But I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah, that's yeah. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, your story shouldn't be. Someone shouldn't have to explain themselves that they don't want to exploit a person because they shared authenticity on the internet, right? Because they shared authenticity someplace else with people, even if it's with people or whatever like that. People your story shouldn't be exploited like that. But it is very sad. You were a believer for 53 years. I was raised strict Pentecostal. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. The truth will set you free. Amazing. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Seeing that there is something that we can ascertain or explore in our own mind and body is a very different narrative. And seeing that to me, a distinction is that I can either perceive how I'm a little different because I do claim to be a Buddhist atheist, is I can see myself as a spiritual being, and then I can also see myself as a physical being exploring spirituality. Um, and yeah, it's not that religion steers you away from that, or it's not that what religion isn't telling you this though necessarily. It's telling you that one of these is superior to the other. And I don't know how people reach that conclusion. I'm gonna go grab some coffee. Coffee, 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 coffee. Duck gets coffee. Nate gets coffee. Everybody gets some coffee. Just me. Oh man. All right. I'm gonna stand up for a little while. Hopefully that's okay. Yeah. But yeah, people give I just regarding relationships, some people are so fast or can sometimes take more than they give to other people. Um and they don't and a person may not, and this is coming from somebody who's not like a relationship expert, but they don't realize both where you can end up is one of the ones that I would say from my own experience being a dirtbag. And then the other one is it's not just about where you end up, it's also about what you take from someone else while thinking you're giving yourself away to something, some part of the world, some physical part of the world. Um, and it stands to reason. I still go back to my baseline, and maybe this is wrong. I get yelled at it for being like a very pro-social person. I think cooperation and kindness and stuff like this. But one of the things people may take away from is that, yeah, if you're not, and this sounds very immature or toddler like, but I believe it. If you're not someone who just meets people and say, hey, well, we're friends, right? We're friends and friendly, and I know what that means too. Well, then what world are we going into where you're either starting a relationship or going forward with a relationship where it has to be you against the world or something like this, right? You're creating an opposition to begin with. Um, you know, And hey, Nilo, thanks. Yeah. And so just one of the like I never have any idea or clue also where, because who knows? I think a lot of guys, I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna sit down now. I think a lot of guys probably do have like a slightly predatory kind of, we have both very social as well as sort of predatory sex drives and stuff like that, and relationship drives. Like that's probably a little bit true. That's yeah. So I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get it if we're not able to put the same amount of right. This sounds very red pill, so I should probably shut up. But if you're not able to put the same amount of a person can't put the same amount of time and energy into, that's not what I want to say. I want to talk about what I wanted to talk about, and I'm having weird deja vu right now. A life restarter do-over is what it is. I need to shake the machine back in place. Oh, I mean it's just so it is cheap and free. It's cheap and free to buy the most expensive thing you'll ever buy. It's cheap and free to buy the most expensive thing you'll ever pay for in your life. And maybe some of that is too romanticized. But then you wonder why people are, who knows, figuring it out, living in imperfect relationships is maybe something I don't understand, right? Because I'm not a relation. This is why we're a politics channel, because I don't understand this. But people are either figuring it out or not figuring it out while they think they are, or battling things off that they don't know what they are, or all these types of, they're figuring out some sense of absurdity. I guess that's the whole point of relationships, is figuring out competitive absurdities according to the manosphere red pill. Meeting and blitz. Cool. Nice. Oh wow. Oh wow. That's cool. That's a very cool statement. That's interesting. Red pill is this sort of mindset, and it goes with the manosphere a little bit, but it's like it's saying that it's almost like saying there's some competitive truth you have to swallow in life, right? The blue pill is that society takes care of you, you take care of society, you take care, the social fabric takes care of you, and you take care of the social fabric. And the red pill is saying that that we're all set apart, sort of the way I understand it. And so it's saying that you have to embrace this competitive truth to become like who you are as a person. And so who you are as a person is also this red pill person. So it's like an identity, right? And this is where it gets a little absurd. Maybe it started absurd, but it gets absurd because the red pill is like an identity, right? I've taken the red pill. I subscribe to Myron Gaines or something like this, or whatever. And so some people might like, as someone who doesn't get this stuff that easily, it takes me, I have to talk down into it and like to express it. But as someone who doesn't totally get it, it's like, well, you could be, yeah, you could be a Sasha Grey subscriber or an iShowSpeed subscriber. So you watch Roblox, or you watch like real gaming streams or something, and you're learning, you're adulting like something like this, But most people wouldn't introduce themselves saying, I'm an iShow subscriber. Some people might, right? You can be a big fan of that stuff, but people will introduce themselves as being part of the red pill or the manosphere. Yeah. I've taken the red pill. I'm an advocate for men's rights or something. And it sounds so serious and grave, but then you zoom out and you say, well, this looks and behaves and acts just like all other digital online identities. Um, you know, the fabric is social fabric in the chaos, but it doesn't work that way, right? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think in the Western world, right, we can define it kind of where we are because that's the part of the social fabric you're a part of. So like the woke stuff, the woke identity is that, well, the social fabric in the West is exploiting someone else, but you can still go out and say, I'm getting a job, right? I'm going to go get a job. I'm going to go rent an apartment or I'm going to buy a car. And so the social fabric has to do all those things, which include exploiting another person. Um, but if you take off some of, if you just say what it means for most people, right? How do you take it off? It's hard to say. That's the woke stuff. The non-woke stuff is saying that, well, these systems operate with some sense of harmony or balance, whether you like it or not, right? Even if it's better for someone materially and worse for someone else. And I think part of the problem with having even like that woke ideology or woke mindset towards some things like that, um, like part of, hey, Reyes here, indirectly, that's what you would say, yeah. Um, like one of the things someone might still say is, well, if you're not able to spot the harmonies or balance and be just a small force for good in some system that's hard to understand, um, well, then that's still a problem, right? That's creating more imbalance or more lack of harmony between systems. Easy to say, I have a flat head. When we say that the social fabric is so powerful that our animal brains shape ourselves, our amygdalas, our ability to store, retain, and consider information shapes us because of it. Um, you know, it's ignoring like natural values or natural something or another. Hey, sports, what's up? Good to see you. But yeah, if anybody's watching, anybody's new and hasn't super chatted to the channel yet, if you guys haven't been able to support the channel financially and you want to help me keep streaming today or other times, consider a super chat. It's as little as $1. You can super chat. You can also send YouTube Jewel. Yeah, and I'm always really grateful. I'm always really grateful to people that support my dream of being a full-time streamer, allow us to have adult conversations on the channel, even if it's only 3 or 4 of us. It's good people. Good people. We got Underboss in chat, right? I almost said Big Underboss, but yeah, we got Underboss in chat. Yikes. Yikes. There's really no such thing as a natural value. I think that's part of the red pill though, right? Saying that there isn't any meaning or virtue or value to just like what I think of as like biological reasoning. The fact that things tend toward, right? This, it's not a constraint. It's not about a system that exists today, but the fact that things may tend toward our ability to have food, housing, and romantic prospects, right? The fact that our irrational and rational thoughts tend towards those things, that is a natural value, right? It's a something, right? There is meaning there. I can't imagine what a universe is like in this, I would compare it to Newtonian physics is how I explain it. Newton's physics, Isaac Newton's physics that he wrote in the 16th century, are not about reality. And you can disagree with me and you can point out all the cars driving, all the airplanes in the sky, but those don't work based on Newtonian physics. They work based on Einstein's equations, and then below that they work at least in some sense based on how particles work. If there wasn't a particle there would be no plane or car. So Newton was a liar. Newton's physics are still used in engineering today and are great rules of thumb, and they're very precise rules of thumb, but they are just that. They are rules of thumb. They're not laws of the universe. And so, but Newton's equations seem truth-seeking, right? We don't see violation of Newtonian principles that often in the universe. We really don't. And so to say that natural values are like that, they're truth-seeking while being not cosmic laws of the universe, I see those as analogous and sort of the same thing. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Strength, brain, and love. Hey, hard earned. Thanks for the 2 Aussie bucks, Valina. Appreciate it. I hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, www chat donum. Nice. Dude, take a shower and clean your beard. Thank you. Incognito, we handled this one. We talked a little bit about it's a weird look for both of us to engage in that conversation. Shout out to you. I hope you're having a good day. If you're having any of those, whether it is grooming or looks maxing challenges, if you're even further outside, I thought what I would look like today was acceptable. I look acceptable enough that therefore, just because of how I look, what you said looks very strange to me. What you said looks very strange to me personally. Dude, take a shower and clean up your beard. Say it said to a person who looks like a lot of other people on Earth, right? Here's how I know I'm right and I'm not being a toddler. Maybe I am being a toddler and you disagree, Incognito, but you could go around on Earth and say that to like 4 billion other people, right? There's probably half the planet who looks about as groomed, bathed, and presentable as I do today. So I'm sorry I have a flat head, but I feel like you're pushing me to be more antisocial or egotistical than I'd wish to be. I'd wish to not be that way. And so I apologize. I think there's other people who feel the same way too. Yeah. You guys know to avoid some of the identity and racialized language on the channel. You can find a nicer way to say the exact same thing you want to say, or you can say it to the people who are here. The best strength comes alongside with kindness. Yeah, that's a very nice statement. Very nice statement. Hopefully this isn't too dark. Hopefully this is, I know it makes it look like I got my teeth kicked in by society or by someone. Why do I look so sad? What's wrong? I don't know what part of me looks sad. I don't know how to answer that, right? The conundrum you presented me with, right? I'm not a yogi. I'm not like a Buddhist monk or anything, but the conundrum is I'm supposed to attach myself to something I'm experiencing or feeling that I don't understand. And so you're asking me to totally explain how I'm feeling right now. It's another very strange statement, very strange custom of the superiority arc of humanity. It's Superiority Day. Yeah, that would be a decent explanation. Is I don't understand all the questions I've gotten today, and we're talking about some of them. Some of them we're leaving in the chat. And so it makes me slightly depressed. I have to defend myself when I'm not even sure what I did wrong in the first place. I'm not even sure what I've done wrong today. I know if you guys are just tuning in, one of the things we did decide, and I'm excited for this. This is one of the side missions. Hey, How's that sound? One of the side quests that we're taking on is I'm going to become a who knows, maybe I'm a predator and this is actually who I am and who I want to be, or just who I am even without choosing it. So there's a lot of ways I could describe myself, but I'm going to become a cheating, perverted, claimed monogamous pervert, is what I'm going to be doing. So shout out to you guys. Yeah, hiking. Yeah, I'd love to get away. Yeah, if anybody wants to send me $10,000, if somebody wants to send me $10,000, I have a direct donation link. You could on my page. You could literally pay for me to live the life of my dreams. You know, it doesn't always take money, but it does take some. So, yeah, yeah. My beard. I have a very thick beard. I have a very thick beard, um, and it's I don't know why. It's probably my genetics. My dad. When my dad would come back from hunting, because I told you guys I grew up in kind of a blue collar, salt of the earth family a little bit. My dad would come back from hunting with from having been clean shaven every single day to having a pretty decent sized beard. And I think so. I have some genetics, some genetic factors that mean I grow a beard well, right? I have pubic hair on my face. And then the other side is just not shaving. Yeah. If you want male grooming tips, um, don't shave, don't have ingrown hairs in your beard. And what else? And yeah, use a little castor oil or beard oil, can go in the hair as well. And even though I'm sure someone who is noticing of things would see I'm not look maxing or acutely groomed and all those things right now, but I don't think it's that bad. I think it's okay. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm okay being the that person right now. Yeah. Yeah. Looking like I happily, I guess. Hey, there, Jack Straw's got the right idea. Yeah. I think real manly men love burgers and beer, and they don't mind growing a beard. You know, um, bacon t-shirts. How do you guys feel about bacon t-shirts? All right, we're not cultural arbiters here, but bacon t-shirts were one step beyond my level of masculinity. Hey, it's cool, it's funny, I get it. Everybody loves bacon, but I just never understood. I didn't understand bacon t-shirts. And for someone else, bacon t-shirts might make a lot of sense, but for me, bacon t-shirts didn't make a ton of sense. All lumberjacks are homeless. Yeah. Um, People have their lives dictated by popularity. Idiots do. Yeah. Yeah. Being popular and being performative and, again, just these social roles that are maybe decided for people. Is that what those are supposed to be? If you guys are schooling me up on some of this stuff, yeah, you have a social role that was decided for you as a person or something like that. Is that what being popular is? And then so therefore those types of things, and we all just know different things and have different experiences. um, yeah, yeah, yep. Or does society tell you to not grow facial hair? Yeah, yeah. I agree with Pretty High's question. I agree with Pretty High's question that when you see see someone and you're their dad or older brother or boss, right? So I never understood the bad management desire, the bad manager dad mentality of wanting to order people around. It sounds very undesirable. Who partisan? I don't know who that is. I don't know if that's like an internet meme. I don't know why I would know who that person is. Or nice to meet you. My name's Nathan or Duck. Good to meet you. Good to meet you. I don't know why I would know who that person is, unless maybe I'm being an a-hole and that person's like they do politics stuff or something like that, and I should know who they are. But I'm not very good at all that stuff. Georgia. I'm gonna go get another coffee. Hey, what's going on, Superclip? Great to see you. This guy's in trouble, man. Too dark back there. Too dark. Gotta go. Hey, Sia Valina, thank you. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for stopping by as well. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Why does the Dow keep crashing and rising? Who knows? I would think, right? It's so hard to understand to read quant indications in the markets. I say this because I'm not a financial wizard, but the explanation would be either there's information disparity. So basically, that's another way of saying it's like what's happening is that there's wolves and sheep or sharks and someone else. There's a lot of people who think they know what's going on, and so there's trading activity. But it could also be if there's information disparity and the aggregate market is falling and rising. It could also just mean that that people are taking it. There's not enough long-term bets on the market. There's not enough maybe long-term windfalls, and people don't know where the market's supposed to be. So it could just be a sign that there's change happening and no one knows what it is, right? So a lot of different ways of saying the same kind of things. But usually when there is like a lot of movement in the markets, sometimes it's because of macro indicators in whatever from one of the macro indicators. Or, and it can also be that, who knows? Because you're asking, one of the things that I would do if I was a douchebag is, we could talk about the Dow Jones, like you're supposed to just understand it. And if you don't understand it, you're not popular, you're not cool. You're not cool for just admitting you don't know. You're not cool. I'm not cool for admitting I don't know. I am not cool. You're not cool. I'm not cool. Right, you wouldn't be a cool person for saying you don't know what's going on with the Dow Jones. You wouldn't be a cool person for saying that, to be honest. And yeah. So, but who knows? Yeah, tech stocks, like one example is tech stocks or healthcare stocks maybe change, and people don't know if this is because the industry is changing or if it's about a macro indicator and someone's just reading it first. So, but it's because you're talking about thousands of companies, you're talking about thousands of the largest companies in the world. Yeah. Today, a guy called me moron. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That's another thing. That's another thing the internet loves to do is call people morons. And so there should also be a rule, in my opinion. You might agree with me that there should be a rule again that um right, it is not the case that only very smart brainiacs from Harvard and I, IIT and Oxford can talk about the stock market and building airplanes and things like that, right? If somebody's interested and passionate, they can talk about it. But one of the things you guys let the internet get away with, right? You guys let Donald Trump and MAGA Donald Trump get away with this. Hey, Mickey, great to see you, mate. Good to see you. But yeah, one of the things you guys let MAGA Donald Trump get away with was allowing dumb people to define things like the Dow, right? You could define why the stock market is important, right? I think, I don't want to be hateful, but like Charlie Kirk was an idiot. Charlie Kirk was not that intelligent of a person. And you guys let him define things like constitutional rights. And so saying that, well, there's a layer of complexity that is higher with something like the Dow Jones than what is meant based on constitutional rights, just because it's larger, bigger, it's more places. You're talking about thousands of companies, each employing thousands of people who maybe each sell thousands of products sourced from maybe even dozens of places around the world. So even with a very simple graph, you have several thousand dimensions of something in a simple version of what the Dow Jones may be like, right? This is what quantitative traders do. And so, yeah, if we're doing internet etiquette, right, instead of how a boy introduces himself to a girl, how men introduce themselves to women, and these red pill topics, um, if we're right, it would take a selfish, egotistical moron to tell someone what the Dow Jones is or what a constitutional right is when they do not know. If you don't know what that is, then you wouldn't be talking about it. And we let people get away with that. I'm from the Southwest United States, Krishna. Good to see you. No one knows everything, and it's insane to see people act like they have it all figured out and won't listen to any input. Cool. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I think there's a reason some people don't want to spend time on channels like Myron Gaines. No offense, right? The guy's doing social media, he's crushing it. He's a much larger streamer than I am on Rumble and on YouTube. But there's a reason people don't want to spend time there. There's probably a good reason people don't want to spend time with me either, right? But um, but to externalize it a little bit, there's one of the reasons is because you don't want someone who both has an ego, is egotistical, lacks humility, and also just maybe is average intelligence to be defining what the world is like, right? I should be able to, right? If I was talking to an expert, right? I almost said another expert, but if I was talking to an expert about stocks, if I was talking to an expert about politics, I could say, well, yeah, we can you narrow it because we're talking about thousands of dimensions, in any one of these problems, and that's just the economic or quantitative side, right? Um, Someone would know what that means and sort of be able to immediately limit kind of some of the stuff they say. Hey, Sizzle, good to see you. Chameleon was a rapper. Can you not say racist stuff in the chat, please? Thank you. I don't know what you're testing out here. I don't know what you're testing or seeing. A I remember that person was being a jerk, but I don't remember what they said. That person was saying some kind of mean, some of the messages versus the person were jerky and mean, I know, but I don't remember exactly. Oh, oh. Too many people hyping about the bond market. So our interest rates are going down or something like this. Why? Sounds dishonest. Yeah. Um, cool. Yeah, I don't know that I buy, right? I think we can look at Western nations like Japan, nations with Western values. Is Japan a Western nation? They seem to have Western values to some extent, who also have pacifist constitutions and see many failures, but I think you lose complexity. Not a complexity you may need other places, but by accusing the US of being an empire or imperialistic, um, you know, it's perhaps the same way that I would say something like China has a state led, has still has 25% of their economy is state led. Maybe those are the same things, but I don't know. Can I ask why are you doing live? 'Cause I like, probably because I'm extroverted. I'm an extrovert. Hey Suhan, good to see you. Good to see you. Hello. Cool. Too many people hyping about the bond market. Yeah. You just kick the can down further. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, um, right. One of the things I would point out is the presence of identity politics. This is something I really deeply believe. I'm not going to hold it back any longer. The presence of identity politics and attitudes of superiority, maybe which I have too, but that shouldn't change that people looking at the US market can optimistically and realistically wonder if free markets can produce more equitable and sustainable outcomes from the United States, right? And so a lot of that goes away when you say, well, the US is an empire, right? And Western values are made up. Somehow, and just how funny that does sound is, in the same sense that I wouldn't say, well, China is very famous for having Tao, Confucian, and Buddhist traditions living simultaneously. And it's a history of values that have been expressed through multiple empires. And China's long or their actual journey, in some sense, their short journey into modernity, like everyone else, right? During these different periods of time, and how you would analyze these, you know, but you lose if you just say the US must be an empire, the West must be an empire and imperialistic. You can no longer actually look at markets, I don't think, and say, well, I wonder how there are moral goods that are either preserved or produced by these things. And so, yeah, it just sounds very dumb to me. The reality is the authentic truth is it sounds very dumb and stupid and egotistical and narcissistic and cruel and abusive and uninformed to um, to claim to be so uneducated and yet also and cling to a revolutionary mindset where you're really just creating a game for someone else. At the end of the day, you're not pursuing what you want. You're pursuing cruelty for another person. Right? Does that not make sense? I don't understand how that's even the smallest fucking bit confusing. Thank you. Yeah, we're a small channel, so I appreciate people stopping by. It's not meant to be like Duck's office hours. It's not meant to be office hours of what, I don't know. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, it's a politics channel. Sometimes I'll say things like, right, I'm not qualified to, but if I was your social science or a political science TA, here's what I might say back to you about your political views or your beliefs or how you're describing and understanding the world outside of yourself. Here's some places, sources you might look to both limit as well as guide your beliefs. Limit, guide, or expand one day. Yeah, but it is incredibly cruel and narcissistic to hold to a revolutionary mindset, in my view, where you're really just asking someone else to be the revolutionary intrinsically. You're asking their beingness to, that person has to be revolutionary in their cruelty toward themselves, their lack of understanding toward themselves, because you failed to learn, discover, or think. And so it's not refutable. It's just your superiority, right? Right. Yeah. Colonialism and neocolonialism were both very cruel systems, cruel periods of time. Um, and yeah, looking at colonialism perhaps without considering the why questions, just the types of questions you would ask about like city states, about even whole nation states like Singapore, which are often compared to having city state like characteristics, their ability to have almost municipal level responses at the national level in some sense. Um, you can think of almost like gilded, in some sense, almost like gilded traits and characteristics that maybe play a stronger role in the economics and policies of places. But yeah, you're not asking that, right? You're closing a conversation. And again, you're like, if you wanted to provide an example of what I was just talking about, your game is that I have to search through my knowledge, and your game is also therefore that nobody else, right? You're asking other people to now create a space where they can talk about red pill, manosphere, national patriotic stuff. Cool, right? So congratulations, you got back exactly what you asked for. You asked for opposition and competition, and you got it back. Congratulations. I didn't know that. Thanks, Mickey. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Box Fox 99. Thank you, Bree Jack 15. Appreciate you. Be it Western country or dictator one. Cool. Awesome. Hey, that's a new one. That's a new way to abuse people online. Congratulations. Is it about something else? No, it's just a new way to abuse people online. Congratulations. You guys have discovered new ways to abuse people on the internet because of politics, because of society, because of what? I don't know. I'll mention this to you guys for the folks here. If you guys want to send a super chat, our goal for the stream, our goal for the day is $35. So if you guys want to support, you can help us hit the goal right now, sending a yellow, orange, or pink or red super chat. Those would all be, yeah, anytime. If you guys can donate generously without an expectation in return, you guys know I try to make great content. Hey, thanks, Mick. Authentically love you too, Mick Lloyd. Great to see you. I really do. And so, yeah, if you guys want to support the stream or consider supporting it later this month, please feel free to do so. You can do so right now as well. Thank you. Hey, thanks so much. Got 2 huge Aussie dollars coming in from Mick Lloyd. Very generous. Thanks so much. Thank you, my portfolio. So this is the old way of abusing people online. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, Jacob Oi. Great to see you. Yeah, good to see you. It's a strange thing to do when you have the power and authority to control yourself how you want. I don't know why we're doing it, but I don't know why I'm mentioning it out loud, but that's a very strange statement to make. You wanted me to respond or react to it. That's the reaction. Yeah, there you go. That was correct in the first place, in my opinion. I don't know who would see it differently, but apparently, yeah, apparently you don't respect people's bodily autonomy. And it's only partially digital or it's fully digital. It's just your digital self, who you are online. You don't respect people's bodily autonomy. Cool. That's weird. That's weird, right? Cool. Thank you. Thank you for all of that. Hey, Rifki Armando, great to see you. Yeah, I do kind of look like a Viking, don't I, right? A little bit, I guess. This is a politics channel. We can talk politics, science, physics. We can talk philosophy, religion. Some of you guys like psychology. We talked relationships a little bit earlier in the stream. We can talk about morality, talk about politics, talk about whatever, talk about the internet. We can talk about food. We talked about food a little bit earlier. Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Nope. It's volitional, right? It's volitional. It's of one's own volition, leading horses to water. Do you guys believe? Someone asked me earlier if I believe in coronaviruses, C19. And I answered, do you believe in horses? Do you believe you can lead a horse to water? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. No. Maybe if you guys want to introduce topics, you can send a super chat if you want to, Doctor. Introduce a new topic. Yeah. What's going on, Feedcats? Great to see you. Congratulations with that, right? You've got the ability to do that. Congrats. Shout out to you. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's your guys' money, so I'd try not to exploit myself too much for money, just to not set a bad example for other streamers as well, even if I wanted to. I don't know that I would. Gnosticism? Oh man, it's great. Yeah, if you have a day off, go gnostically understand something you agnostically understood before. Is that what you mean by Gnosticism? Yeah, Gnosticism is having knowledge or having experience. It's knowledge or experience of something. And so, yeah, Gnosticism is great, I think. I think we can build Gnostic knowledge by conversing with other people. We can build Gnostic knowledge by putting ourselves to sort of consume the same information and resources as experts. And it's also, right, there's some people that can agnostically know things and they're very successful in society. So it's important. Oh, like the mainstream religion. Yeah, I don't actually, I think because I'm an atheist, my interpretation of the social phenomenon of religion or the social phenomenon of Gnostic religion is that, yeah, it seems that religion is it's knowledge about psychology, but also all of the behavioral products of that religion, all of the behavioral products of that religion. Right. And so I do think like an evolutionary psychology or neurophysiological sort of interpretation seems like the thing we would have the most knowledge about versus saying that, well, Gnostic religion is actually about evidence of interacting with our spiritual selves or divinity, the supernatural, right? There's zero evidence of vertical causation. There's zero evidence of cause that exists outside of ourselves. So I don't buy mainstream religion, for that reason. The reason I don't buy mainstream religion is because, well, it can be explained better elsewhere. I don't personally believe it. Lots of small reasons. Someone's testimony may not be compelling or convincing to me about their Gnostic experience with religion, their Gnosticism. Only Christianity or religion as a whole. Um, yeah, Gnosticism is a very popular topic in the West, in U.S. Christianity right now. It's come along with identity politics, come along with a lot of those topics about what I see ultimately reducible to a mindset and attitude of superiority toward other beings, right? Making it more explicit and almost in some sense dumbing it down, making it so stupid that it's unignorable. Um, hey, what's up, Boozy? Great to see you. Yeah, I'm sorry you don't like that I'm live, but you can, Sizzle Moonsong, our mods here, said reminded you guys, and hey, good to see you, Skylar's Fantasy. Great to see you. Um, you can ask YouTube to stop recommending my channel. You can also tune out. You can also just tune out. Um, and yeah, if you don't like me live, I apologize, but you can also send a super chat just to make it ironic and funny. You can also consider sending any super chat, any amount. You can also send a red super chat, a pink super chat. Help us hit our goal for the stream. Help me hit my goal for the day. I'm out here begging on the internet, trying to create just, I don't know, it's just a channel. I can talk to you through the phone. I can just be talking and stuff like that. Yeah. My new kitten cat likes watching you live. Hey, awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations. Hey, Trevor, seat 6465. What's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Jim. Where is the US going in my view? Yeah, well, one way or another, Donald Trump has, as president, he's been ineffective. I'm going to flip my light on, by the way. I'm sorry about this. I'm going to be consuming extra electricity. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to put the light on despite having some light outside. Yeah, I think, if Donald Trump hasn't substantively helped the United States economy produce value, if he has not supported areas where maybe it requires balance and some understanding how things like education in the US produce economic supremacy and dominance, right? That's what education does. Education also helps us understand and I think be more compassionate people when we're understanding. Then, yeah, it does get worse before it gets better. At some point, the US economy, just like every economy in the world, is going to have to deal with failures to adapt and failures to innovate, as well as just the increasing undercurrent of competition for energy, that reality. Donald Trump saying that he's going to solve the energy crisis by worsening our dependency on fossil fuels is the dumbest thing a person has said maybe in the history of mankind, right? It's like saying if my house is on fire, I'm going to put it out by throwing more fire on my house. It doesn't make sense. It does not make any sense. And so at some point, it will get worse, perhaps much worse before it gets better. Hey, Zardy. Great to see you, Zardy Glazer. Yeah, I'm not following your exact logic or reasoning or what you're saying there, but yeah, I'd like to become an ethical. It could be the audio. YouTube's kicking me off. I don't know. If you guys can let me know if I'm lagging. Is there lag here? What's going on? Yappity yap, dobo yap yap. Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Cool. Ones we don't get out of, ones we get into. I don't know. Shout out to you. Hopefully, we're all doing well. I hope everybody's doing well watching. Happy Monday to you guys. You guys can help me hit the super chat goal if you guys want. Audio sounds like Viacom. All All right, guys. Well, I'll close the stream down later.